Mike LaFleur was the best hire the Arizona Cardinals could have made, but that is an indictment on the Arizona Cardinals. Allow me to explain. This was the worst job on the market, and absolutely nobody wanted this job. Jeff Hafley took the Dolphins job. Robert Saleh took the Titans job. Clint Kubiak took the Raiders job. Brian Flores didn't even take an interview for the Cardinals job. John Harbaugh didn't even want an interview for the Cardinals job. And Sean McDermott would rather not coach this season than be the Arizona Cardinals head coach, because where I don't think this roster is that bad, they got smoked by injuries this year. According to some metrics, they were the most injury affected team in football last year, but the organization is terrible. There is no history of success. And I said this stat earlier in the year, Joe, in the last 58 seasons without Kurt Warner as their leading passer. I just said 58 seasons. That's almost triple my current age. Okay. This franchise has won 3 playoff games. 3 playoff games, the least in football, and nobody talks about them like they're the Cleveland Browns or they're the New York Jets level bad, but they have produced less postseason results than either of those teams. That's how bad the Arizona Cardinals have been. Add that, so you have no idea what's happening at the quarterback position with Kyler Murray likely heading elsewhere, and there not being a quarterback that you can really take with that 3rd overall pick in the first round, because we're assuming Fernando Mendoza goes number 1 overall. Oh, and by the way, if the 49ers were even somewhat healthy this year, you might have had the 3 best teams in the entire National Football League in your own division with the Seahawks, the Rams, and the Niners. And those were 3 of the final 4 teams standing in the NFC playoffs this year. So what new head coach would even want that job? Clearly not many outside of Mike LaFleur wanted that job, who Mike LaFleur, I do think, carries a lot of upside, considering he's from the Sean McVay and Kyle Shanahan tree, where we've seen a lot of new head coaches develop, learn, and then have success from. However, Cardinals fans, you're going to have to be patient with the win-loss record, especially next year, because they're in a very weird spot. They're probably not going to make the playoffs again. So you should mainly be looking for offensive development, scheme, system, and culture shift. Even if that comes with 5 wins next year, that's going to be a good sign for the Arizona Cardinals and their franchise going forward. But Joe, I got to kick it to you, brother. Mike LaFleur to the Arizona Cardinals. Is this the best move they could have made, or was there another direction they could have went?
You know, it's kind of funny because I actually like the Cardinals roster. Like, I think the Cardinals are a better team than their record, and I think their biggest problem has always been under center. What have we talked about with Kyler Murray since his extension? Is he dedicated? Is he invested? Does he even want to play football? And I think the answer is equivocally no. He has no will to put in the time and the effort to be a good quarterback. If he did, then we wouldn't have seen such a disparity in the offensive production between Jacoby Brissett, who is a journeyman career backup quarterback. Jacoby Brissett, in the games he played, yards per game passing average was like top 10. Matt, you know my strategy in drafts, what I would like to see from a team that's rebuilding, right? It makes the most sense. Trade back. You're not getting a quarterback here. You're not getting Fernando Mendoza unless the Raiders pass on him. So the Cardinals are in a weird spot here. You know, you're going to look at your other needs, and if there's like a prototypical generational player you think you can build around, get him at 3, but otherwise you have to trade back. That being said, I like this roster. I think that if Brissett can run LaFleur's offense, I think this team is serviceable, because we forget they played very competitively even inside their own division. Jacoby Brissett had them in games consistently last year. This is not a playoff team next year. You're playing for draft position. You're playing to get free agents to come there. You're clearing out some dead cap. You're getting Kyler Murray off the books. Like this is very much a bridge year. I think that a lot of people saw this was a bridge year that wasn't quite as appealing as you had with the Raiders getting the number 1 overall pick. It didn't have the spice where you have a bona fide lead back in A-Chain in Miami. You know, it didn't have the Jackson Dart, Cam Scadaboo, and that defense in New York. It didn't have the history and everything of the Ravens and the Steelers. Like, you kind of have to put them in the same category as the Browns here, right? For like, you're kind of directionless at quarterback. You got some pieces. I mean, they arguably have the best tight end in the NFL. Like, we forget that Trey McBride is like the best tight end in the NFL. And personally, if you're looking at a rebuild, maybe you trade Trey McBride. Like, those are the questions. I mean, that'd be rough. It's rough, but he's not going to win you anything, you know? And I guess like the tight end position doesn't pay a lot, but you know, he's probably the 2nd or 3rd highest paid guy on your roster right now. So to say it was, you know, the least wanted job, I don't know. And I think that I didn't think Gannon should have been fired. I think that you looked at how that team performed with Jacoby Brissett under center. It's clear that Kyler Murray has now gotten more coaches fired than he has wins. It feels like in the last couple of years. So no, I don't know. I'm different. I'm indifferent because it's the Cardinals. Like you said, like they've never been anything of substance unless Kurt Warner was there. And it just feels like, it's status quo.
Yeah, this is a very, again, we don't talk about it very much about how little of success this organization has had. And they were obviously, they were in the 2015 NFC Championship game as well with Carson Palmer and Bruce Arians, and Larry Fitzgerald was still there and stuff like that. They got ran down by the Cam Newton in his MVP season and the Carolina Panthers that season. But other than that season and the Kurt Warner seasons, like it's been absolutely nothing for these Arizona Cardinals and this organization. And again, we just don't talk about it because there's so many other organizations that we believe to be more trash, but I mean, they've been really, really bad. But Joe, to your point, again, I like this roster a lot. Like I like especially the defensive roster. I think this defense could have been one of the league's best this year. It just got absolutely bum rushed with injuries. Will Johnson, who they drafted at corner, who kind of came in with injuries, but he was banged up throughout the year. Obviously, they got other guys on the defense as well who kept getting banged up. So I think the roster is good. And Joe, to your point, I think the easy quarterback plan for next year, get rid of Kyler Murray. He obviously isn't working in Arizona. Trade him to the Jets or wherever you want to trade him, or whoever wants him. I don't care who wants him. Just get him out of there. Okay. And then Jacoby Brissett, he's signed for next season. So it's a very easy, just, let Brissett start for next year, whether they're ass next year and, they get another high draft pick, and then you can draft your quarterback. And then I might sign Brissett to another 1 year deal. More. Yeah. Sign him to one more and then have him bridge for the quarterback, whoever you drafted, So in terms of Mike LaFleur, I mean, we do have to give him credit. He was the offensive coordinator for the best offense in football this year in the Los Angeles Rams. Granted, Sean McVay's the one calling the plays. We give Sean McVay all the credit for the, who's developing the schemes and the offense and stuff like that. But Mike LaFleur, just being around that, has a lot of benefit. As we've seen with the previous McVay tree offensive coordinators, he's the fourth McVay offensive coordinator to become a head coach. The first was Matt LaFleur to the Packers. The second was Kevin O'Connell to the Vikings. And the third was Liam Cohen to the Jaguars, all of which have been maybe not very successful, all of which have had success as head coaches and have had offenses that we've all looked at as very impressive. I guarantee you Arizona Cardinals fans would sign up immediately for the success that any of those franchises have had with those head coaches, because those head coaches have gotten to the playoffs consistently, have developed their young quarterbacks and offenses that have looked competent, which the Arizona Cardinals have not had as of late. But I don't know about trading Trey McBride just because that's your best player, and there's not, especially on offense, there's not a lot of redeeming qualities. Marvin Harrison Jr. has been disappointing. You had the Michael Wilson break out a little bit last year. Yeah, he broke out a little bit last year. I don't know how much you're expecting from him next year, though. But Trey McBride, like you mentioned, is the best tight end in football. Like, he just had one of the greatest tight end seasons that we've ever seen this year. So, I mean, his value would be at a premium right now. You could probably get the most you're ever going to get for Trey McBride right now. But that's also the best player on an offense that doesn't have a whole lot of redeeming qualities. So if I was a Cardinals fan, I would be a little bit wavering about getting rid of him. But in terms of Mike LaFleur, I think he's going to come in there and at least be able to build an offensive structure that these whatever weapons they do have can have success with.
Let me ask you a question. You're the Arizona Cardinals GM, Matt. That's you. You're the Arizona Cardinals GM right now.
I don't know what kind of dumbass move they made hiring me, but okay.
It's draft night and your phone's ringing and you answer your phone and they're like, I'll give you the third overall pick. Like, we're not calling about that. We're calling about Trey McBride. We'll give you our first this year and we'll give you our second and third next year for Trey McBride.
Oh, man. If you get a first, a second, and a third for Trey McBride, I think you probably have to do it. Just because that's a bounty. I don't think anybody's given that up for a tight end, even though Trey McBride is the best tight end in football.
Someone to maximize a window. Someone to maximize.
Who do you think would do that?
Kansas City.
I mean, maybe, but
Kelsey retires and you just plug Trey McBride, the best tight end in an offense that revolves around the performance of the tight end. And the Chiefs are back. Maybe
their cap situation is in such a bad spot right now, though. And obviously, you can find a way to get out of bad cap situations. But
the Saints have done it for years.
Saints always find a way around it. So yeah, he can just call up Mickey. Chiefs GM can just call up Mickey Loomis and be like, "Yo, what are you doing to get around all these salary cap restrictions?" But I think the Chiefs GM is smarter than that. He knows he doesn't want to get himself into deeper and deeper cap hell. And I think trading for Trey McBride would probably do that for them. But I mean, there's going to be some team's certainly going to offer him something for Trey McBride, because I mean, Best tight end in football, young. Tight ends are normally on reasonable contracts. It's not like you're trading for a $60 million quarterback or anything like that. So it's going to be a reasonable contract. It's just I don't know if they're going to give up a first, a second, and a third for somebody like Trey McBride.
This has been Between the Uprights. Football is life. The rest is just details.